All right, guys, welcome to match four between South Africa and Sri Lanka. I'm going to try and do this in a longer format because it's one of the highest scoring matches in the World Cup history. I mean, Aiden Markram, Rassie van der Dussen, and Quentin de Kock, they all got hundreds for South Africa. And it was just a run fest. Sri Lanka, I cannot believe what Sri Lanka has gone through in the last few months. First, you're out for 55 in a final at Asia Cup, and now you come in, it's your first match in the World Cup, and then you're just slammed into the corner and they hit 428 runs against you. How do you recover from this? How do you recover from this? I hope they're okay, but they did present a fantastic fight back in their batting. It was just not enough. I wish the bowling had done a little better. Okay, number 10. Sri Lankans have a lot of young players, particularly Wellalage and Patirana. Like, I really wish that these guys actually had a little bit of experience backing them because they're fantastic talents. Like, we saw what Patirana can do under the right leadership in the perfect Indian conditions. Like, that guy at IPL was fantastic. Like, of course, it's a different format. It's a 20 over format, and this is a 50 over format. Probably this guy never played a lot of 50 overs matches, and it's his first appearance in the World Cup. But I still feel that Patirana was a little too early for a 50 over World Cup. And same with Villalige, he actually had like some really good test performances in the last year, but it's a little too early for these two guys, and I wish they didn't have to take this pressure on so early on in their careers. I hope they're able to get over this and actually perform this World Cup. I highly doubt it. They'll probably be replaced or subbed in the next few games, but I wish they actually get a better launch than this. Okay, number 9. You have to give props to some bowlers who actually do fantastic batting in the tail ender roles. Like this time it was Rajita, Kasan Rajita, who actually brought the margin of defeat down, and it definitely will help their net run rate, which will obviously come into play in the latter stages of the tournament. So that's number 9. Number 8. Kusal Mendes set the tone for this chase. It was, first of all, it just feels like a humongous total. Most people would have probably given up. But Sri Lankans, I thought they would actually give up, honestly, because after seeing the performance in Asia Cup, I thought they would have given up, but they didn't. They actually fought back. Kusan Mendes started blitzing, with just 42 balls and I think 76 runs, right? His 50 came off just 25 deliveries. He meant business. He was actually putting a lot of South African bowlers, into a dilemma saying, like, how do we get this guy out? Well, in that 76 run score, did you know that he actually plundered eight sixes? Eight sixes, and Sri Lanka in total had just nine sixes. So 8 out of 9 was Kusal Mendes, right? And that to happen in the first 10 overs. He actually was saved by a review initially, where even the on field umpire was surprised. Well, I thought it's out. Janssen bowled a beautiful ball, straightened out really well, but you know what? Height. Janssen is tall, so the bounce was a little high. So it missed the middle stump and, maybe the off stump. And that gave him a life, and he did not let that go because a few balls after that, the first ball that Ngidi bowled, he hit this absolutely beautiful straight drive. And that was just like he just announced that, he means business. He's not going to go down without a fight, and that's exactly what happened. Number 7. It was a day that the bowlers would want to forget. I mean, with the game largely decided, as a straight shootout between, batters of both teams. And in that sense, while the end result may show that it was just a very thumping victory for the South Africans, it felt like Sri Lankans were not giving up. Sri Lankans were up for a fight. So apart from the the massive loss that Sri Lankans went through in the last two games, especially the first game in the World Cup campaign, there are some positives that you can actually pick from this entire match, right? It was in the Sri Lankan batting lineup, someone kept showing up. First, it was Mendes. He started with his blitzkrieg pop. And then secondly, it was Asalanka. He had his time. He hit 79 of 64. I get it. It's not a T20 score, but for ODI, I think that was pretty decent. But again, for this total, that wasn't. But then Dasan Shanaka comes in, and he hits a 50. I was looking at that, I was like, oh, so you can bat? Like, I haven't seen this version of Shanaka for a very long time. In Asia Cup, he was shit. He was terrible. And everybody was questioning his captaincy too. But here he shows up in the tail end and he's batting with, tail enders and middle order, last bit of middle order and tail enders. And he actually slams a 50. The way he got his 50 was fantastic. A 6, a 4, a 4, a 4, and a 4. So that was 1 6 and 4 fours, and he reached 53, I think in just 50 balls overall. But yeah, it, and this was the 37th over, and they were at 252. So there was some bit of hope for them right there. But unfortunately, it just didn't pan out because they needed a strong partnership. I think I was really missing Pereira and Samana Vikrama. Like these batters could have done a little more, and we were in for like some magical batting, a magical chase by Sri Lankans, but we were denied magic today. Next, number 6. This was the highest aggregate for a men's ODI World Cup match, going past the 714 runs in the 2019 game between Australia and Bangladesh in Nottingham. There's something for the record books. Number 5, there were 107 boundaries scored across both innings in this match, and this is the most ever in any World Cup match. Okay. Number 4, Aiden Markram. Mate, where were you? Where were you all this time, especially during the IPL season? You do really well during the SA20, and now you show up in your first match of the World Cup and you hit a 49 ball century. Where the hell were you during the IPL? The whole team was going bonkers. They were struggling, defeat after defeat. Nothing. It's like I'm seeing a different version of Aiden Markram. His 49 ball century was a sight to behold. It came so quickly, right? And it's actually surpassed one of the old record holders named Kevin O'Brien, right? And apart from that, his strike rate was 196.29. Wow. Number 3, this was the fourth time an ODI has seen 3 centuries from the same side, right? The first wicket partnership lasted very long, like really long. It was 174 ball stand. Boundaries were never difficult to find. There were loose deliveries. Patirana was going crazy with his extras. And they were just, and even the tighter balls were dealt with efficiently. They didn't let the loose balls or the tight balls go. They provided like absolute masterclass in batting today. And there were a lot of good balls too, but they were put away. It was a partnership that just bludgeoned the entire Sri Lankan team to death with minimal risk taking. Firstly, Quentin de Kock looked so fluent, and it didn't even feel like he was struggling at any point. He just came in and like bang, 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 bang. He did start slow though, And but then once he gained his momentum, I think around that 50 run mark, he just lofted into some fantastic cricket, some fantastic cricket shots. Rassi Van Edison, wow, he started slow too, right? And at some point, his runs were way less than the balls that he consumed. I think he was just getting a feel of what the pitch was like. And then when he started, it was just there was just no end to that aggressive performance. And do you know who he reminds me of, especially with that just not the stance, but maybe just that helmet look? Daryl Cullinan, the opener, the South African opener, again back from like I think 90s or early 2000s. Oh no, 90s. I think I remember him seeing in the 92 and the 96 World Cup as a kid, so I may be wrong. I need to go check YouTube again. Number two, South Africa's 428 for 5 is the highest ever total in World Cup, and as well as the highest total in Firozshah Kotla in Delhi. So there's something for the record books. Then finally, number one. South Africa surprised everyone. They were not in contention till this point, till their first match. South Africa was not the favorite for a lot of gurus, right? Like I saw a lot of pundits talking about India, Pakistan, England, New Zealand, Australia, right? These were the main teams that we know were going to the semifinals, right? And in just a single match, South Africa already broke a bunch of records. The batting order looks absolutely fantastic. Marco Jansen is spitting fire again. Where were you during IPL? And this is what's happening, and it's just fantastic. So now we have six favorites apart from India, Pakistan, England, New Zealand, and Australia. Let's add South Africa and see what they do. So we might be seeing a first time World Cup winner. Could it be South Africa and New Zealand in the final? I'm crossing my fingers, but that would be a very exciting match. I do have to talk about like a few things, a few moments that happened with the South African team. One, it feels like Marco Jansen just came with a vengeance to this World Cup. It feels like a different bowler altogether. Of course, we haven't seen him play in the 50 over format in India for a while. He did. I'm sure they played a few matches, but I missed like few matches before the World Cup, so I'm not going to go into that. But no one was expecting this fantastic performance. He was spitting fire. Like the guy was crazy. Like he could have just gotten a hat trick at some point in this, and we would not be surprised. Gerald Coetzee looks fantastic, like an angry young man that South Africa always needed. I didn't. I generally don't see a lot of aggressive behavior with this South African team, so it's good. There should be a good measure of a fast bowler being absolutely angry with a headband, and he does pull off that headband a lot better than many other players that I'm not going to name. But yes, Coetzee looks really good. He looks excited when he's taking the wicket. It seems like he's a good fit for this team. And let's see what he does in the remaining matches. Finally, one funny moment that I have to talk about was when I think Kusal Pereira, yeah, he lofted one. It was a top edged one, went really high for a catch. From one side, there was Bavuma just really running in and like too determined to get that catch. On the other hand, Miller, who was actually a lot closer to the ball, I feel, was just quietly walking to the ball. And I think no one called, or maybe Bavuma called because I felt like Miller just stopped at that some point. And then I think Bavuma misjudges a little angle of where the ball is going to land, and he drops the catch, and Miller is just standing there looking down in disappointment at Temba Bavuma. I thought that was funny, and I think we'll end with that, and that's about it. So that's match 4, South Africa versus Sri Lanka. See you in the next review.